there. Let's switch gears here to the Bengals. And another thing at Local 12 that you guys are doing is the top 25 Bengals of this century. You've just started releasing these names. How far have you gone so far, Skinny, and who's on the list initially here?
Yep, so we've gone down. I'm doing 2 a day for the next couple of weeks, and then I was going to do 1 a day the last week, and I'm like, well, everybody's going to guess who the top couple are. So I think I'm going to do 2 one day and the final 3 the next. It'll be a couple of weeks from now. And then I'm also going to list 25 other players I considered in alphabetical order.
Are there any special rules to this or criteria?
Yes. Yeah, the only criteria was they had to play at least 3 years for the Bengals in this century. And so that's where when I rate Corey Dillon, don't get mad at me. He's not one of the top 5 because he only played literally 3 years in this century, but he had a couple of really good, actually he played 4 years, I believe, 3 really good years in this century. But the only criteria is they had to play at least 3 years in this century. And the only thing I considered was their performance with the Bengals in this century, not what they did before they came to the Bengals or what they did after they came to the Bengals, just what they did with the Bengals. So I've released 6 so far, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. And actually, as we're doing this today on Thursday, I'm going to do numbers 18 and 19. So 25 on the list, believe it or not, was Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Too low.
And here's the thing. I know people can go, well, wait, it's trouble. I don't care. None of that matters to me on a list like this. He's the all-time kickoff return leader in team history for average return. All-time punt return leader. He's second in kickoff return. He led the NFL in kickoff return average. And oh, by the way, later in his Bengals career, he became a pretty darn solid cornerback. And you mix all that together, that's a pretty good player. So he comes in at number 25.
He should have been ahead of Shane Graham. I'm just telling you that right now. He should have been ahead of Shane Graham.
Okay, I appreciate the input on that. And now I'm drawing a complete blank on who my number 24 was. Hang on a second. I got to look this up.
Sorry for that.
Now, this is when you know you get old, Rick. Hang on. 24 was Tyler Boyd. Now, Tyler Boyd only had 2,000-yard receiving seasons, never was a Pro Bowler, but still, he ranks 4th in team history in receiving yards, 7th in team history in receptions, and honestly, just the epitome of solid pro, right?
Yep.
All right, 23 on the list was another cornerback. Actually, no, 23 on the list was another cornerback.
Torrey James,
who played from 2003 to 2006. He ranks 7th in team history in interceptions, finished 2nd in the NFL in interceptions in, I believe it was 2005, was a cornerstone of some early Marvin Lewis teams as a starter, made a Pro Bowl as well, was an all-pro selection one year. Number 22 on the list was Evan McPherson, who we all know is not coming off of not a great year, but this stat blew me away when I looked it up. He has 24 made field goals of 50 yards or more. The next 3 guys on the list have combined for 24 field goals of 50 yards or more. They all have 8. Doug Pelfrey, Horst Muhlman, and Mike Nugent.
So how on earth is Shane Graham ranked over McPherson then? Because
Shane Graham, my friend, is the all-time Bengals percentage leader in field goals. He has the 2 longest streak of successful field goals made. He led the NFL 1 year in successful field goal percentage. He made a Pro Bowl and was a second-team All-Pro selection. You know what Evan McPherson hasn't done yet?
Made a Pro Bowl.
Right?
Yeah, but Shane Graham also led the Bengals in all-time average college girls dated while a pro athlete.
That's a fair point. I knew you were going to go somewhere with that. I get it. I do get it. Listen, I'm not dinging Pac-Man for his off-field discretions, and I'm not going to ding Shane Graham for his.
Fair enough, but I just don't think – I can't believe Shane Graham's over any of the – Torrey James, yes, but the others, I can't believe he's above them.
Yeah, well, above him, though, on the list is Reggie Nelson. And again, when you think of Reggie Nelson, you go, meh, and you go, he was really good. I mean, honestly, just when you just throw the name out, what do you think of Reggie Nelson?
I think of really nice guy who one time when I had to cover the Bengals beat, I think I was filling in for you, my assignment. I was only there for that day. I was only going to be there that day. My assignment was to get a feature with Reggie Nelson. And he, during the period where we were supposed to talk to him, open locker room, he had something else to do. He wasn't there. And so I tried to grab him at another point. He's like, I got to go do this thing. And I was like, he's like, I'll get you tomorrow. And I was like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And so he made time. He's like, I'll find a way to get you later. He came to me after practice, sought me out, remembered, found me, and did the interview, which, like, as you know, quite literally never happens. If someone says they're going to get you later, maybe if you find them, you'll get them later, but they're never coming back to find you.
No. Hey, listen, he is 6th in team history in interceptions. tied for the NFL lead interceptions one year, was a starting safety on 5 straight playoff teams, made a Pro Bowl, was an All-Pro. Reggie Nelson was a good player.
He's like the Tyler Boyd of the defense, I feel like. Just a solid pro.
Yes.
Not spectacular, but very solid.
Now, I will say, the one thing that was a little disturbing about Reggie, and to your point, he was always the go-to guy. Like, you got your 5 go-to guys after a loss, right? Yeah. Especially after a painful loss, because they're going to talk. But Reggie had this little thing. He'd get out of the shower, stand butt naked in front of you, didn't care whatsoever, and then had to oil himself up for like 15 minutes. And it was a big process. I mean, he had different oils and creams and things.
Well,
and
you go directly from the press conference with you to the Diddy party. So got a little baby oil up.
That is correct. I will say my favorite Reggie Nelson story of all time was in New England after the Bengals lost the Sunday night game. It was 2014, I believe. And this was a good Bengals team, obviously. But they were 3-0 going to New England for a Sunday night game. The old narrative that was the Marvin Lewis narrative of Andy can't win in prime time. The Bengals can't win in prime time under Marvin. And they got just destroyed. They just got the living daylights beat out of them. So Reggie's my first go-to guy. And I walk up to Reggie, and Reggie's done with all his I guess I might have gone to other guys or whatever. He was dressed. He was reaching back in his locker when I went to ask him. I said, Reggie, I mean, the whole narrative built up of the week was the prime time thing. Does this thing hurt more than anything else? And Pac-Man wheels. He goes, blank yeah, dude. I'm like, okay. I wasn't asking you, my guy, but sure. Go ahead and answer for him.
Yeah, I gotta love Pac-Man. Only second to his garbage rant in Cleveland.
You in there, Terrell?
Yeah,
garbage. And so there I am. So we're up to that. I'm up.
Reggie Nelson.
Yeah, I'm up to Reggie Nelson. So I got 19 and 18 to do today.
All right, so that's where it stands. One other thing that happened last week, which actually I think got finalized like right after we recorded last week's podcast, or maybe the day after, was the Bengals in Hamilton County have finalized a new lease agreement for Paycor Stadium, securing the team's presence in Cincinnati for the next 11 years with potential for an additional 10 years through extensions. The agreement includes $470 million in stadium renovations, with Hamilton County contributing $350 million and the Bengals contributing $120 million. Skinny, I don't know how much there is for us to say about a stadium licensing agreement, especially when we didn't think the Bengals were going to leave Cincinnati in the first place, I don't think. But what were your thoughts, if any, on this deal getting done?
Well, it's not a done deal yet. It still has to be voted on, but they've come to they have a term of agreement that then will be voted on. Listen, I'm glad, I guess, for Bengals fans, for sure. Is this going to be enough to fix what needs to be fixed? I do like the fact the county is putting a cap on this. Like, it basically telling the Bengals, you want anything else done to it, it's on you guys to do it. It stinks they didn't get state money for this, that maybe would have pushed this over the top, because I think the initial price tag was in the $800 million range. But again, I think they're also trying to make terms of the lease a little bit better for the county. I don't think it does a ton better. I think they're paying $1 million now, and eventually they're going to pay $2 million. I don't know if that does much to move the needle for me. Listen, if it's a win for both, good. I don't know. It feels like in 5 years we're going to be in this boat again of, they're under a lease agreement, but they need all these things done. And I joked with somebody the other day about, are we going to be in this whole concept of kicking the can down the road? And they said, no, in 10 more years, they're going to ask for a new stadium. I'm like, yeah, they probably will. That's probably right.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing here that keeps them from asking for a new stadium in 10 years when the extensions come up. And by the way, aren't the Reds going to be in a similar spot here very soon, doing the same thing? So this sounds like it's going to be playing out for the next decade plus in the city with the stadium stuff going on. I do think the Browns and Blackburns fleeced Hamilton County here again, because the narrative was the deal was a disaster the first time around, and Hamilton County got completely screwed over by the Bengals. They did. But there were all these things in there that I don't think really mattered, that like the Bengals weren't actually taking advantage of, but they sounded bad in terms of like the wording of them. The Bengals had all this control and all these extra things that they could do or take, like even so much as like controlling what goes into the banks and other things like that. The Bengals had all that in the previous agreement. So in this new agreement, they agreed to take a bunch of that stuff out, and it looked like wins for Hamilton County, when in reality, I don't think most of those things really mattered to the Bengals at all. They weren't serious things that they were taking advantage of or going to be able to flex or exercise for the most part anyway. So they really kept most of the money and onus on Hamilton County and the taxpayers, I think, while not really strapping themselves down in any way, shape, or form. And basically from a PR perspective, they said, oh yeah, we'll get rid of all these things that made the other agreement look bad. even in reality, I don't think they really mattered too much. So the Browns and Blackburns are gangsters.
No, they are. There's no question.
Yeah.
And I go back to this in 5 years. Let's just go 5 years, basically midway through this next lease agreement. In 5 years, when they come back and go, we still need $300 million of improvements for this, and this. If not, we're going to leave. I mean, they're going to keep playing that card. And at what point do you just put your foot down and go, no, it's on you. It's your stadium. It's really not your stadium. You treat it like it's your stadium. You guys want improvements? You pay for it.
Yeah, because that's like the other thing. It's, okay, well, the city, the county now will have more use of the facility on non-game days. There's nothing that says specifically what's going to happen. It just says they can. Right. So like, that's where, again, I point to a lot of the stuff was good from a PR perspective, but I don't see anything in there that actually says like the taxpayers and the people of the city are going to get more usage of this and it's going to be a great benefit to them.
You and I live in Northern Kentucky, so this doesn't affect us. But I mean, the initial promise of this was property tax rollback. I mean, how about we start with that?
Yep.